Have you ever escaped so far from where you came from that you started pretending it never existed? I didn't marry for love. I married for distance. Distance from hunger, distance from shame, distance from the version of myself that knew exactly how it felt to be poor and powerless. When I left home, I promised my family I would return successful. I promised my mother I would build her a better house. I promised my younger siblings I would send money. Then I met him. He was kind, foreign, stable, everything my life had never been. When he proposed, I didn't hesitate, not because my heart raced, but because my future finally felt quiet. Marrying abroad changed everything. New surname, new accent, new stories. I learned quickly how to edit my past. When people asked where I was from, I said the city, not the village. When they asked about my parents, I said they were back home, vague, distant, harmless. When money came up, I smiled and stayed quiet. Poverty is easier to escape physically than emotionally. I sent money at first, small amounts, then less, then excuses. Life was expensive here, that was my justification. But the truth was uglier. I was afraid. Afraid that if I kept one foot in my old life, I'd be dragged back into it. So, I disappeared. I told myself I was protecting my marriage, protecting my image, protecting my future. Years passed. I became someone my younger self would have admired, well-dressed, confident, invisible scars. Then one afternoon, my phone rang from an unknown number. I ignored it. It rang again. Then a message came in. We are in your city. My hands went cold because there are some people you can outgrow, but you can never truly escape. Before we continue, kindly like, comment, share, and subscribe. It motivates me. Also tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I stared at the screen for a long time. I had crossed borders, changed names, built a new life. But my past hadn't asked for permission to follow me. And it was already knocking. I didn't reply to the message immediately. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because replying would make it real. We are in your city. No greeting, no explanation, just presence. I spent the rest of that day moving through my apartment like a stranger, straightening cushions that didn't need straightening, washing cups that were already clean, practicing conversations I hoped would never happen. When my husband came home, he noticed. "You are quiet," he said gently. I smiled, too quickly. Just tired. That night, I barely slept. Every sound from the street felt like footsteps coming for me. Every vibration of my phone made my chest tighten. The next morning, another message came. We are outside. I froze. Through the window, I saw them. My mother first, smaller than I remembered, wrapped in a coat she clearly wasn't used to wearing. My younger brother beside her, eyes wide, scanning the unfamiliar street. My cousin trailing behind with a small bag. They looked lost and hopeful. I didn't open the door immediately. Not because I didn't love them, but because opening it meant colliding with everything I had tried to leave behind. When I finally did, my mother smiled, the same smile she used when I was a child coming home late. "My daughter," she said, pulling me into an embrace that smelled like home and distance. Tears burned my eyes. Inside the apartment, they looked around quietly, at the furniture, the clean walls, the life I had built without them. "You did well," my brother said softly. Guilt wrapped itself around my chest. My husband arrived shortly after. Introductions were awkward, polite, careful. No one mentioned money. No one mentioned absence. But it hung in the room like unsaid prayer. That evening, my mother finally spoke. "We didn't come to embarrass you," she said gently. "We came because we couldn't reach you anymore." I nodded, unable to meet her eyes. "We just wanted to see you and to remind you, you didn't come from nowhere." Her words weren't angry. They were worse. They were true. The first few days passed quietly.
too quietly. My family behaved like guests who were afraid of overstaying, even though no one had told them when to leave. They woke up early, cleaned after themselves, and spoke in low voices like they were in a borrowed space. That somehow made it worse, because silence doesn't erase need, it sharpens it. By the third day, the questions started appearing. Not aggressively, not directly, just carefully placed comments that landed heavy. "This place is big," my cousin said one morning, glancing around the living room. "One person alone couldn't need all this space." My mother nodded slowly. "God has been kind to you." I smiled, but inside, panic tightened. Kindness in my family had always been followed by expectation. That evening, my husband asked to speak with me privately. "They seem nice," he said gently, "but how long are they staying?" I didn't have an answer. I had never planned this reunion. It arrived uninvited, unannounced, like a bill sent years late but still demanding payment. At dinner, my brother finally spoke openly. "There's a project back home," he said. "Small, but it could help everyone." My mother didn't look at me. She didn't have to. I felt the familiar pressure rise, the same pressure I had run from. Only this time, escape wasn't possible. My husband watched quietly, trying to understand the conversation happening beneath the words. Later that night, he asked the question I feared most. "Did you marry me to save them or to save yourself?" I didn't answer, because the truth sat uncomfortably between both options. I wanted to help them. I also wanted to protect my life. But suddenly, both felt impossible. And for the first time since I married abroad, I realized something frightening. Running from poverty doesn't free you from responsibility. It only delays the moment it finds you again, wearing familiar faces.
The argument didn't happen loudly. That surprised me. There was no shouting, no slammed doors, just quiet honesty, the kind that leaves nowhere to hide. It started when my husband sat us all down in the living room. "I think we need to talk openly," he said calmly. My mother straightened immediately. My brother shifted uncomfortably. I felt my chest tighten. "I love my wife," he continued, "but I didn't marry her to replace an entire family's future." The words were respectful, but they landed hard. My mother sighed deeply. "We didn't come to take anything from her," she said. "We just hoped she hadn't forgotten us." That sentence broke something open inside me, because the truth was, I hadn't forgotten them. I had been afraid of them, afraid that if I let them too close, everything I built would collapse under weight I couldn't carry alone. "I ran," I said quietly, "not from you, but from the life we all shared." My voice shook, but I didn't stop. I married for safety, for stability, but I lied to myself thinking distance meant freedom. No one interrupted me. For years, I pretended I came from nothing, because nothing felt easier than being responsible for everyone. My mother wiped her eyes. "We didn't raise you to disappear," she said softly. "We raised you to grow." That night, we agreed on boundaries, clear ones. I would support specific things: education, healthcare, one business project, not everything, not endlessly. They would return home in 2 weeks. No guilt, no threats, no emotional bargaining. When they left, my apartment felt lighter, not emptier, and for the first time, I felt whole. I stopped pretending my past was a weakness. It was proof I survived. I didn't marry abroad to escape poverty anymore. I stayed married because I finally learned how to face it without letting it define me. If this story moved you, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. It really helps this channel grow. Final question. Do you think leaving home means you owe your family everything, or do boundaries still matter? Tell me your thoughts, and also let me know where you're watching from.